Hey, what is going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Kurtzman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we're talking about today is for everyone out there that might be in a situation where they want to start their real estate career, but, maybe they're having a hard time figuring out how they could get through it. That's what we're here to do today. And what we're going to show you today is how you can actually complete a lot of the requirements to get your real estate license, including the required courses from home. And look, I'm not talking about just some boring textbook that you're reading, some self-study course. I'm talking about live, interactive, live streaming, and on-demand courses that we have available to help you get your real estate license here in Florida from anywhere in the world. And we've got a great set of study tools that go along with this to really make sure you're prepared to pass your exam on the first try. But we're going to give you a breakdown of what you would expect if you're thinking about doing one of our live stream or maybe one of our on-demand online courses. What are the differences? Because they're two very different courses. They're ultimately going to teach you the same information, but absolutely different methods of delivery. And depending on the style of learning you have, one might benefit you more than the other. So that's what we're covering today. My name is John Kurtzman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Kurtzman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. And what we're here to talk about today is completing your licensing requirements from home, which you'll still actually have to take your state exam at one of the state testing centers. But for pretty much everything else in the licensing process, you can complete this from home. Now, when it does actually get to you practicing real estate, yeah, you're going to be going out there in the world, but there actually are some opportunities available where you could even potentially work from home if that's ultimately what you want to do long-term with your real estate license. There's a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities, a lot of different possibilities with having your real estate license, because that license is really generic in the sense that it works for a lot of different things, not just different types of real estate, not just residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, but also businesses even. If you want to work with investors or somebody, first-time home buyers, or people that are looking maybe just to rent. If you just want to be a rental agent, you could make some pretty good money as a rental agent once you get the rhythm with it. So there's a lot of ways it is that you can earn a living with your real estate license. And in the same way, there's a few different ways you could get your real estate license in the first place. So whatever way you go about it, you probably need to take a course. Unless you're an attorney licensed with the Florida Bar, or you have a degree specifically in real estate, which not many people who have a degree in real estate. But if you have a degree in real estate or you're an attorney licensed with the Florida Bar, well, then you could exempt yourself from the pre-licensing course and go straight to the exam. But if you do want some things to study, call us up. We've got some great study tools that help you prepare for that exam, even if you didn't have to take the course. But for everybody else who's not an attorney or somebody who has a degree in real estate, you'll have to take this pre-licensing course. And this pre-licensing course, it's a 63-hour course, and they're not actual hours. The Florida Real Estate Commission has a different definition of an hour than 60 minutes, but ultimately it's going to take you probably about 63 hours to go through this course and this content. So two options. Again, we've got the on-demand, which we've had for a while. I mean, really since we've done online courses, we've always had the on-demand option available. But especially recently, I mean, we just started doing live streaming back in March. You all know what happened in March. So now we have live streaming, and it's actually really worked out quite well for us, because we now can reach, instead of just being able to reach students here in the location of our physical classrooms, but we could provide that same classroom experience anywhere in the world now. Now, again, these are two different courses, two different delivery styles, but overall you're going to learn the same content, just in a slightly different way. but it's the same state exam you're preparing for regardless of what type of class it is that you're going through. Now with this on-demand course, this is not instructor-led. So no instructor-led, there's no schedule for the on-demand course. You basically are doing it at your own pace. And this one, it's designed to be very interactive. It's designed to be very interactive, where rather than you're just reading information, you're using the information. And for those of you that learn through experience, that's what this is kind of tapping into here. It is working with the information so that you could better understand it. Now, with this on-demand course, though, there is going to be, even though you're not reading necessarily chapters at a time, there is reading that you do in there. But it's going to be more about these smaller exercises, really, that you're working with to make sure that you understand this information. And the one thing that is definitely a big advantage compared to the live streaming is you can't proceed until you've demonstrated that you understand whatever topic it is that you're just learning. Meaning you won't be able to get to Unit 2 until you pass all of the requirements for Unit 1. All of the learning objectives that are set up in Unit 1, you have to check all those boxes essentially before you're able to go into Unit 2. So it is a little bit more personalized. Now the live streaming option, this is instructor-led. And this does have a schedule. There is a set schedule of classes where you would be attending this set schedule of classes as if you were taking a classroom course. This live streaming one, this is really like the virtual classroom. So again, just like a classroom, there's going to be a schedule. There's a certain time. Just no commute, because your commute is going to be basically this. You're just pulling out your computer, and maybe you're going to your couch or your desk or wherever it is, your kitchen table, wherever it is you might be working on this from. Now, as far as the interactivity goes, now it's not going to be quite as personalized as this on-demand course is. And this one is autonomous, so it's kind of weird calling it personalized when there's not necessarily a person here, as where this one, the instructor-led course, yes, this is going to be a person, but it's a group. It's a group class with the live streaming option. You're going to be on this live stream with maybe 30, 40, 50 other people taking this class. And now you might wonder, well, what if I have a question? Well, with our live streaming course, we've got a chat where you could actually interact directly with your instructor in real time during the course. Now, there are set times where we'll do questions during the live stream, so that way we can keep the course on topic and make sure that you're not just asking about something we're going to talk about in just a minute or so, but we have that level of interaction, just like we would have in a classroom. Just like you would raise your hand and ask a question in a classroom, you could do that right through the chat there. And we don't put a video on you. We don't need to see you. You don't need to see. So if you want to watch this in your pajamas, if you want to, whatever it is that you're doing there, look, that's on you. Either one of these, you're going to take two different exams. You're going to do an exam online, and then you're also going to do a state exam that you're going to have to do at one of the state testing centers. And the state testing centers, they're not just throughout Florida, they're throughout the entire country. So if you're planning on moving to Florida and you're wanting to get your real estate license, either one of these options you could begin before you even stepped foot in Florida, do your fingerprints, do your application, and even take your state exam in whatever state you're in before you're even stepping foot in Florida and already have a Florida real estate license. The testing centers are called Pearson VUE, and they're literally all over the entire country. Every state, there's not a single state we've checked that does not have one of these state testing centers in them, and they usually have multiple. So you could take the Florida real estate exam from pretty much anywhere in the United States And again, these online options make it so you can get this licensing process knocked out so that way you can hit the ground running when you come to Florida. Or again, maybe you're already in Florida and you just want to do this because you've got a schedule where you can't necessarily commute back and forth. Or maybe you guys are in South Florida or up in the Panhandle or whatever the case may be that you're not right here in Tampa with us. You can still come to Tampa School of Real Estate. Just join us online. Now with both of these, they do come with some built-in study tools. With the live streaming, we've got some PowerPoints that we use. We give you a downloadable copy of all of those PowerPoints. You can print them out if you choose or just save them on your computer, do whatever it is that you want with them for the most part. There's also flashcards that we include in the course. We also give you extended demos of all of our Pass First Try study tools. Those are going to be additional optional tools that we have. We've got full details on those all at passfirsttry.com. But if you're signing up for one of these courses, we actually have really great bundle packages when you buy our Pass First Try study tools with your course. And that's really when you get the best of both worlds with this, because these study tools, they're designed to do one thing: to make sure that you are prepared for the exam, to give you the best opportunity to be prepared for your exam. These courses are designed to do a lot of things. They're designed to teach you the information, but not just teach you the information that's important, but also teach you any additional information that the Florida Real Estate Commission deems relevant, even if it necessarily isn't important for the exam. Now, technically, everything that you learn in the course could be on your exam. It's all fair game to be tested on the exam if it's covered in your pre-licensing course and it's from the Florida Real Estate Commission syllabus. But then at the same time, there's certain topics that the Florida Real Estate Commission is so much more concerned with, and the outline of the course will already reflect that, but we even go above and beyond to really emphasize certain topics, like, for example, escrow. It's an extremely important topic for your exam, and you want to know why? Because it's the number one reason why the Florida Real Estate Commission has to discipline licensees. So when the Florida Real Estate Commission disciplines people with a real estate license, it's most likely because they messed up something with escrow. And so what does the Florida Real Estate Commission try to do to prevent that from happening in the first place? They test pretty extensively on the exam about escrow. And there's a lot of other little things like that we've picked up over the years, that we've picked up on from the Florida Real Estate Commission or from past students or even from ourselves taking our own exams of what's important and what is it that the Florida Real Estate Commission is ultimately concerned with you knowing to get your real estate license. And we do try to incorporate that knowledge and expertise as much as possible in these courses here. But again, there's certain regulations and requirements and restrictions we have with these being FREC-approved courses that are requirements for your real estate license. Our optional study tools, these do not give you credit for anything. So these will not give you any sort of credit. You're not going to be eligible to take your exam just by completing our study tools. But these are designed to really make you better understand everything it is that you learn in the course, but not just understand it, but also be able to remember it. And not just remember it, but be able to regurgitate that information in the context of the exam questions. These exam questions can get tricky sometimes too. It's really a test of not how smart you are, but a test of do you know the information. So if you apply yourself and you study, you could pass this exam. I don't care what your intelligence level is. As long as you could read. I mean, you really don't even necessarily need to know how to write, because even when you take your exam, you're just clicking a mouse on what it is. But as long as you could read and you could study, you're willing to put in the time to study, you could pass this exam. It's not a matter of if you'll pass this exam, it's a matter of when you'll pass this exam. Now, some of the things that you should do, some best practices and some tips if you're going on this journey to get started with your real estate license. And this goes for either one of these two options. Now, the on-demand option, this on-demand option, if you're not a self-motivated person who, if you're not, one of the great benefits of being in real estate is you get to be your own boss. But you got to ask yourself, are you a tough boss or are you an easy boss? Because if you're a tough boss, this option could probably work pretty well for you. If you could make sure that you stay on a regimen to get this completed. Both of these, again, you're going to learn the same information. And part of that, again, this is designed to prepare you for your real estate exam so you could pass your exam and get your real estate license. Once you have your real estate license, you're required to do a renewal course called post-licensing, and that's going to get a little bit more into more business-related topics. The topics they're asking about on the exam that you're learning in the pre-licensing course, though, that's going to be more about, hey, you not harming the public. So it's a lot of rules, it's a lot of laws, especially in the beginning, and that can get a little boring. And if you get bored by laws and rules, that's maybe where you'd want one of our energetic instructors up there on the screen for you, helping you make this not so exciting stuff a little bit more exciting. But if you do find that stuff exciting, if, again, you are more of a disciplined person who could carve out a schedule, this can be a really great option for you. And again, that's a little bit more important on this side because this one, the schedule is made for you. You just got to show up. You just got to show up and do what your instructor is telling you to do, which is going to be, again, to study through various methods and different ways and different topics and so on and so forth. But either one of these, you're going to have to study. Yes, this one you have to make sure you're managing your own time just for taking the course, but either one of these, you've got to manage your own time for the studying. Because even this, I do not recommend that you take this course and you solely rely on this course alone. Either of these two. If you just take the course and rely on the course alone without doing any studying of this information, you're basically just learning this through one pass. When you might understand it when you go through it, but if you don't study, there's a huge probability that you're not going to remember the information you need to remember for the exam. I mean, usually in this course, you're not really learning anything eye-opening that's just going to change your perspective on the entire world. It's a lot of details that they want you to remember, and they're going to test you on those details, and they're going to set up the wrong answers to appeal more to your common sense. So, like I said, studying for this exam is not an option. It's a requirement. You could test that theory if you want. You're technically not required to study, but if you want to have your best shot at passing the exam, you got to study. And here's the best way to study. Too many people I see make a mistake when they're studying of just cramming. You do not want to just cram. Yes, this is a lot of information, but cramming only makes you frustrated. You don't have the same level of retention when you cram as opposed to what I always refer to as spaced repetition. Now, what is spaced repetition? Well, spaced repetition would be more along the lines, rather than you cramming just once a week or you just cram right before your exam, you spend a little bit of time every single day. And now this is where I usually lose people when I tell you to do it every single day, because you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this every day. But look, if I'm only asking you to do 5 minutes a day every day, rather than doing an hour once a week, could you do that? Or maybe even 10 minutes a day? 10 minutes a day, and you can even take a day off? That's the same amount of time. If you went, let's say, Monday through Saturday, 10 minutes a day, that's going to add up to an hour a week. That hour that you're spending 10 minutes a day is going to go so much further and have so much more impact than if you just cram all that into one single hour. So you want to make a habit out of this. Again, either one of these for how it is that you study and review this information. And both of these courses already have information in there that you could study and review. So again, you don't need these study tools. If you want to make your life a little bit easier where you don't have to worry so much about prioritizing what you need to study or how you're studying or anything, you want a little bit more of a guided experience, get our study tools. They will help guide you through the best way to study for this exam to make sure, again, that you have not only do you comprehend the information, but you comprehend the right information. Because that's what's really important, that you're studying what's going to be on the exam. And that's really hard to predict for, because especially for the state exam, they pull from thousands of different questions. So there's a lot of different topics they could potentially ask you about. But when you actually boil it down, there's really just a much smaller set of topics that they ask a lot of different questions about a lot of different ways. And so that's our whole pass first try strategy. If you've seen any of our videos we've done before on the pass first try strategy and why you, again, follow these steps and how you work yourself through this to get yourself confident and prepared for the exam. So you can check out those videos. But again, in a nutshell, this is really just making it to where you learn the information, number one. Number two, you review the key points, not everything, just the key points that are most important for the exam. You then test your knowledge. You test yourself because the exam's going to test you. Don't wait until your exam appointment to find out if you know what you need to know. Find out ahead of time. Find out before your exam appointment. So if it turns out you do need to study more because you don't know, because you didn't score well on that practice exam, well, you've got time to go back and backtrack and work on reviewing those key points some more. And then ultimately, this is all designed to get you to feel confident and prepared, because you got to be confident on this exam so you don't second guess yourself for these wrong answers. But then at the same time, you have to be prepared with the knowledge that they're expecting you to have to pass this exam. So that's our pass first try strategy. And again, whether you get our study tools or not, again, they are optional. I do highly recommend them. They absolutely will help you prepare for the exam, but the exam is passable without them. It just might require a little bit more effort on your part to make sure, again, you're properly prioritizing and understanding what and where it is that you want to study. But you do have all that information already included in your course. But again, whatever way it is that you go about it, try to avoid cramming. Try to make it a habit of something that you're doing daily, even if it's only 5 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes is even better, 15 minutes even better, but you also want to make it something that's repeatable. I mean, it'd be great if you spent an hour a day, but if you're just starting out, carving out an hour every single day, you're setting yourself up for failure the bigger and more difficult it is that you make it on yourself. So maybe start with just 10 minutes. And then once you make a good habit out of that, then maybe bump it up to 15 minutes if you want to make it a little longer. And then continue to grow. Don't go to try to jump off the high dive when you've never even gone swimming before. Start with baby steps. Start with baby steps and work your way into this. And trust me, it's a lot less frustrating because it will work better. This can be frustrating because you get tired. You get angry. You start forgetting stuff. You're having trouble understanding something. You've been going for so long. That's why cramming can be difficult. That's why our weekend prep recording, in my opinion, I think is a lot better for studying for the exam compared to actually taking our in-person class, because that avoids the actual cramming. Because you're able to now take that weekend and dice it up however it is that you want over the 6-month time that you have access to our weekend prep recording. You can go through and repeat sections as necessary, skip over sections you already got down pat, and that's the way all of our study tools work. And we could do that. We could give you free access to navigate around where you could go jump to this unit, to that unit, because there's no requirements we have with the Florida Real Estate Commission that you have to do things in a certain order, because in these courses you have to follow the order of the Florida Real Estate Commission syllabus. So again, there are things that are in here that we have to do, but again, they're not necessarily going to be always beneficial to you in terms of passing your exam. There's probably some reason why every piece of information is in there. There definitely is some reason why. But when your primary objective is passing the exam, I know all you care about is, okay, what are the questions that are going to be on my exam? And if I could just give you the 100 questions, or really the 100 answers that are going to be on your exam, this would be a lot easier process. You'd probably pay a lot more than what those study tools cost if we could just give you the answers. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because the only person that's going to know what questions you're going to get on your exam is you when you go to take that exam. Because when you go to sit down and start your exam, it pulls you down a shuffled, randomized set of 100 questions pulled from a bank of thousands. So this isn't an exam you can kind of cheat your way through or kind of just wing it going through it. This, again, is an exam where if you don't study, the wrong answers will sound more correct for a lot of questions. And I'm sure they do that on purpose, because they want to weed out the people that actually took the time to learn this information, and not just learn the information, but actually know and understand this information. They want to weed those people out from the people that are just trying to wing it. Because the Florida Real Estate Commission says, well, if they won't even take getting the license seriously, if they won't take the laws seriously, then how are they going to take their clients seriously? And that's why they make that exam so tough in Florida. We've had a lot of people from other states say, man, this exam in Florida is rough. It's a lot harder than where I took my license previously. And it is for a lot of reasons, but Florida has a very real estate dominated economy. I mean, look, there's people all over the country that want to live in Florida, that desire and demand real estate here in Florida. So real estate is a big driver of our economy, and it's a big part of our economy here in Florida, which maybe that's one of the reasons why they have so much rules. It's not important why that exam is hard. The important thing is that you understand that that exam is, again, it's not even necessarily hard. It's just if you don't study for this exam, you'll have a very difficult time passing this exam. So everything that we do, and that's why I'm up here telling you this, I've got to tell you this, because if I don't tell you this and you find out this exam is, you need to study for it later, well, that just makes us look bad. It makes us look like we're trying to hide the fact that this exam is difficult. And again, I don't like even using that word difficult, because it's not about that. It's about studying. It's about knowing the information. And that's where you've got to really, especially if you have experience from other states, if you've had a real estate license previously, if you've worked in any sort of real estate related fields. Maybe you've worked in a leasing office, maybe you've worked for a developer in an unlicensed capacity, or whatever the case may be, that you have some real estate experience. A lot of times that experience will get in the way of the more basic fundamental knowledge that ties into your experiences, but ultimately adds another layer of information you almost have to unlearn to be able to pass the exam. So, and again, that's where really your intelligence could actually hurt you. Your intelligence could really make this more complicated than it needs to be. So again, this isn't an exam about how smart you are, it's an exam about, do you know the information that we think as the Florida Real Estate Commission is important. And again, we've got both of these options for you here. Again, just to recap, in case you're just tuning in here, our on-demand course is actually a little bit cheaper as well. It's got no schedule. It's not instructor-led. That's why it is a little bit cheaper for us, because we don't have to have an instructor leading every single student in this. It's all an autonomous system, which is nice because it's available 24/7. Anytime of day or night, you could get in there and work on that. Now, this is not a video-based course. It's an interactive course where you will be doing some reading. There's a lot of studies that are built on the learning style that we've developed in this on-demand platform here. And it's, again, designed to really make sure that you know that information going into the exam. The only time that it might be more difficult, or really where you make it more hard on yourself, is if you stretch out the time you go through this on-demand course. We do give you technically a year in case, maybe something comes up and you've got to put it off for a little bit before you get back in there, but we really shouldn't do that, because if you take a year to go through this course, how difficult is it going to be for you to remember something you learned a year ago? It's extremely difficult. Yes, there is a lot of information in here, but it's not that much. When we have classroom courses that will cover all that information in 7 days. Now, that is our most intense class schedule, and it is all-day classes to do it in 7 days, but we have tons of people that have learned this information in 7 days. And we've had people that have taken this on-demand course and finished it in a very quick time like that. Now, I would say, and that's why we don't always offer that 7 days straight crammed-in class, because ultimately, that is a little fast. That is a lot of information very quickly. But for some people, they could soak it up that quickly and go all in and basically live, eat, sleep, and breathe real estate for a week. If you could do that, then that 7-day course is a great fit for you. But if you have a life in addition to taking this course, or maybe even have a job currently and you're just kind of doing this on the side, then no, I don't expect you to finish that course within 7 days. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. Our evening classes, just to give you an idea, whether it's live streaming or classroom, our evening classes normally go for 8 weeks, where you're meeting twice a week for 8 weeks. So you could very well do that with the on-demand course, but again, the point is that you have to be the initiator. Because it's available on-demand 24/7, you have to say, it's time for class. Over here in the live streaming, just like our classrooms, we are the ones that say it's time for class, and you've got to show up, otherwise you're not going to get credit for the class. Whereas over here, it's on you. You've got to be the one saying it's time for class, which again, it's a double-edged sword, because it gives you a lot of flexibility, but you just got to get in there and do it. Now again, if you want more of that guided experience, if you want more like a classroom type of environment, if you want an instructor to guide and lead you through that information, then our live streaming option would definitely be better. And you might wonder, well, can I get both? Technically, no. As far as completion rules go with the Florida Real Estate Commission, you have to complete one or the other in full. You could technically complete both, or do one and then kind of do another one, but if you're thinking about doing that, I wouldn't go buy our on-demand course. If you want more to study off of and you want more of that on-demand idea, that's what all of our study tools are. All of our study tools are all available on demand. We've got our Secrets of the Exam course, which is designed to help you understand some exam strategies specifically geared towards this real estate exam. We've got our MP3 Auto Review, which is designed to help you review the key points to make sure that you've got the most important topics memorized. Now that's only about a 5-hour MP3, so it really trims it down to the least amount of information that provides the greatest impact. Then we've got our question simulator, that whole test your knowledge thing. Our question simulator has over 700 practice questions in there where you can go through and answer questions over and over and over again. And not even the same question, because again, there's over 700 questions. So you're doing questions, but you're getting new questions. So that way you're not just memorizing questions, because this exam, the last thing you want to do for studying is just memorizing questions. Go watch some of our past first try videos if you want more details on going through the studying process, but memorizing questions is only going to set you up for failure on the exam. Just trust me on that. You don't want to memorize them, but you do want to use them. You do want to practice with them to figure out what key points you still need to review. And then we also have our weekend prep recording as part of that past first try strategy bundle, and that weekend prep recording, it includes a workbook that you go along with the recording with, going through unit by unit, and it's all tailored around passing this exam. This is a recording of our in-person weekend prep classes. We're not currently doing in-person weekend prep classes, but we do have the recording available on demand that you could watch as much as necessary for 6 months. You could use that workbook as much as you need to, go back and forth through that, and that really gives, it's really the closest thing to going through the course a second time. And if you're thinking of going through the course a second time, before you do that, unless you need to, unless it's been more than 2 years since you passed your course and you need to take it again because your certificate expired, rather than you going through the course again, either one of these here, I would say get our study tools and use those, because these courses are designed to teach you the information, whereas these study tools were designed solely to help you remember the information and study for your exam. So look, that's about all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're ready to sign up for any of this stuff, or you've got questions, call us at 813-333-2676. That's 813-333-2676. It's all the time we've got for today. Check us out online at tampaschool.com. I'm John Cursimo. You've been watching Ask the Instructor.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.